our esteemed guests, welcome to UDGAM, a powerful initiative that marks a new beginning in our journey toward justice. UDGAM, meaning origin, symbolizes hope and the drive for change. It challenges us to look beyond legal theory and confront the social realities of honor-based crimes with empathy and courage. At the heart of UDGAM is Manthan, our annual memoir, where young minds across India come together to churn out deep reflections and insights, inspiring us all toward reform. Our two-day workshop unfolds through Ishan and Digant. Ishan opens the dialogue with insightful symposiums, performances, and discussions, while Digant broadens our horizon, deepening understanding through panel talks and cultural expressions. And joining us in this quest for knowledge is Panchjanya, the vibrant quiz that tests and celebrates the sharp intellect and spirit of students nationwide, pushing us all toward greater awareness and justice. Together, these elements create a rich tapestry of learning, reflection, and action. Let us continue on this journey with open hearts and minds, knowing that hope begins where justice prevails.
I take this opportunity to thank our sponsors, without whose support this event would not have been possible. I request the convener of UDGAM, Dr. Prashna Samadar, and co-convener, Dr. Ankita Chakraborty, to kindly come upon the dais and felicitate Mr. Kunal Dalal, founder of Do My Work, our research partner, with a memento for their generous contribution. I now request co-convener of UDGAM, Dr. Ankita Chakraborty, to kindly felicitate Mr. Rohit Kumar Beg, Director of Nokha Financial Services and our co-event partner, with a memento for their generous contribution. I would now like to request the convener of UDGAM, Dr. Prashna Samadar, to kindly felicitate Ms. Shobhini Shaukar from Legal Law, our EdTech partner, with a memento for their generous contribution.
I would now like to take this opportunity to invite on the dais our esteemed panelists, Mr. Satrajit Sen, Ms. Hem Chayade, Ms. Anindita Ray, and Mr. Debanjan Maji. I would like to take this opportunity to shed some light on Mr. Satrajit Sen before this August gathering. Mr. Satrajit Sen is a national award-winning director, producer and entrepreneur with 25 plus years of experience in the media industry. Having worked for major television networks such as Star TV and Z Group, he has a 360-degree knowledge about content, marketing, and distribution. A proven strategist, he has single-handedly turned around the fortunes of companies he has been at the helm of. He is the founding director of Tripod Entertainment Private Limited, a boutique film production house known for its unique selection of films. I now request the convener of UDGAM, Dr. Prashna Samandar, to kindly felicitate Mr. Satrajit Sen with a memento for gracing us with his presence.
I would like to take this opportunity to shed some light on Ms. Anandita Ray before this august gathering. Ms. Anandita Ray, the co-founder of Be and Me, has over 25 years of experience in the development and corporate sectors with research spanning HIV, AIDS, drug prevention, child protection, education, and prison management. She is also a core committee member of the Narcotic Cell Lal Bazaar. She has led UN-supported research projects, trained prison officers, counseled inmates, and presented at international conferences, effectively combining research, policy, and grassroots work to drive meaningful social change. I now request the convener of UDGAM, Dr. Prashna Samandar, to kindly felicitate Ms. Anandita Ray with a memento for gracing us with her presence. I would like to take this opportunity to now introduce Ms. Hem Chayade before this august gathering. Ms. Hem Chayade is a seasoned journalist and editor with over 25 years of experience across print, digital, and international media. She has held editorial roles at leading publications including The Telegraph and College Times. She has written extensively on health, law, politics, education, and gender, and currently consults with global organizations including World Health Organization. She is deeply passionate about literature and human interest and rights narratives. I now request the co-convener of UDGAM, Dr. Ankita Chakraborty, to kindly felicitate Ms. Hem Chayade with a memento for gracing us with her presence.
I would now like to take this opportunity to introduce Mr. Devanjan Majhi before this august gathering. Sir is a filmmaker with a background in civil engineering and visual communication. He was trained at the National Institute of Design. He has collaborated with PSBT, Netflix, Google, and Tata Steel Foundation, creating award-winning shorts, documentaries, and web content. Known for films like Yeti Obhijan, Begum Jaan and Gaju, he now serves as film consultant at UNICEF India while pursuing independent projects. His work reflects a deep commitment to blending creativity with social change. I now request the co-convener of UDGAM, Dr. Ankita Chakraborty, to kindly felicitate Mr. Devanjan Majhi with a memento for gracing us with his presence.
It gives me immense pleasure to now introduce our moderator for the panel discussion, Mr. Ratul Das, Assistant Professor of Law at Xavier Law School, St. Xavier's University, Kolkata. Sir's academic interests span constitutional law and family law, and he is a keen student of the cultural lives of law, having authored several pieces on law, cinema, and cricket. He is currently pursuing his doctoral research on policing and popular cinema in India, and has collaborated with Nectar as a translator in a bid to expand the reach of MOOC courses across linguistic boundaries. We are honored to have him with us as the moderator for this panel discussion, and we look forward to an engaging and thought-provoking exchange under his moderation. I now request the convener of UDGAM, Dr. Prashna Samadkar, to kindly felicitate Professor Ratul Das with a memento in appreciation of his invaluable contribution as the moderator for today's panel discussion. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Shubhashini and Ruksha. Good afternoon to all gathered and our esteemed guests on the dais. I'm indeed privileged to be in this august company today, and without further ado, I would like to jump into what I am sure will be a very vibrant discussion on the sites and spaces of the constructions, the negotiations, and the critiques of honor cultures. Ma'am, if I may start with Onindita ma'am, that was what I'm thinking. So I believe you had the experience of working and also studying the tribulations of HIV positive people and vulnerable children and adolescents. My question to you would be that how do you think that honor cultures have piled on their miseries, their marginalized experiences, and what might be the factors responsible for their experiences in this regard?
Thank you so much. At first, I'd like to say that I have a bit of reservation in using the word honor culture, because culture in Bengali means Samoskriti, and Samoskriti is a very positive word. And I will rather pick up another word in Bengali that calls Aposamoskriti. So to me, honor crimes are the part of Aposamoskriti in our society. To understand the crime context, I think we need to discuss that what honor is. Honor to me, or to the academicians also, honor is a very complex and complicated and multifaceted concept that varies, from culture to culture. The perception of honor may vary from region to region, community to community, society to society, family to family, and even person to person. But to all of them, whether they are HIV, whether they are marginalized, whether they are living in abroad, whether they are living in Khap Panchayat area, but to all of them, honor means reputation of their family, dignity of their family, and most importantly, the chastity of women living in their family. Now, each and every family in this world, they create some law for the family. A code of conduct, honor code you can say, that acts as a LOC, line of control. So no one is supposed to cross that line. But what if anyone cross? And anyone means, I'm mentioning about women. because most of the crime are happening in honor case based the woman. So if a woman is crossing that line of control, the family starts thinking that she has committed a crime because she has violated the family law. And violation of law is crime. So then they feel it is justified to punish her, to judge her, to pass on judgment, and that judgment can go to the extent of capital punishment also. They can kill it. So what I think they need to understand of the offenders, that family law is okay, but family law is not, higher than national law. So I think in whatever society they belong, it's important to change the mindset, and that can be done together, working with civil society, government organization, NGOs, celebrities, filmmakers, like everyone. I think that.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your views. Now, you mentioned a very important aspect of control. Our students did a wonderful job making that presentation, and they brought up a lot of references from film and media presentations. Well, my thought goes to, though, for every instance where this direct references or attention has been drawn to, I will ask for your pardon that I have to continue use the word honor culture, but to honor crimes or honor culture-based violence. I feel that we have this very insidious, very persistent mainstream culture, these instances where we barely critique them, maybe in very happy circumstances. So I'll make myself clear what I'm trying to address here. So, for every Masan or every Santosh or every Dharak, we might still go back to DDLJ. And we have that now evergreen and immortal Ja Simran Ja, and that is the only moment that Simran can actually choose to be with Raj. If I come to media portrayals, journalistic expressions, we have a certain married political leader and his married girlfriend who become primetime news over dinner tables and chai raddas as an excuse for vicarious moral policing. Himchaya ma'am, I come to you with this question now. Do you see that we have this persistent culture of ownership of social bodies? And as ma'am pointed out, that probably affecting more the feminine gender in particular. And do you think that these portrayals, wherever there are very direct portrayals or direct coverage, are these more sensationalist in nature and less critical as they need?
Thank you, Professor Das. That's a very crucial question that you asked. Sensationalism. If you ask me, I will concentrate on the journalism bit, not the film portrayals. Mainstream media, predominantly English, so I'm narrowing it down. Over the years, what we can say is reporting or coverage of honor crimes, honor killings has been uneven. We cannot say that there has been no courageous reporting. There has been. If I may be permitted to broach this topic, there is one more case. There has been ferocious and critical coverage, but that was a different time altogether. But yes, unevenness exists, under-reporting exists, which is a perennial problem. Courageous reporting, but yes, there have been systemic silences in journalism, in Indian journalism, and also euphemisms, sensationalisms that obscure the gravity of these crimes all across India. So I would say that it's sensationalism, takes the context. Normally what happens, it's not that media do not report, media report only urban high-profile cases, it's not that. Even this year, at least 4 or 5 cases, one prominent case in Tirupur, Madras, but then it's, confined to the local newspapers. Sometimes it doesn't make to the national coverage. Conversely, I'm just veering from the topic a bit. Coverage also lacks regional depth. Sometimes, coverage tends to concentrate on the Hindi belt or in the southern states, but there, Jharkhand actually is the state with highest number of honor killings as per NCRB, which grossly under-report data. So sensationalism is there, but we also have to, if you look at mainstream media, like papers like Indian Express, India Today, they do cover, but we have to move beyond the headlines. I feel, even a decade ago, we used to have long-form features or investigative pieces. That space is shrinking, not only in print, but also elsewhere in digital media. There are now many independent outlets. Wire has done, I think, only I saw an article on Wire on in-depth contextualizing the honor crimes in India. So there is a hard look at why this is happening, why it continues to happen. But sensationalism, it's the nature of the beast. We cannot always, it grabs attention. But in sum, what I would like to say that Indian media or Indian journalism has made strides in exposing the heinous acts, but they should do more to kind of challenge the systemic forces that enable these crimes. And we need more investigative pieces, consistent, transparent coverage, and honest journalism is not just a civic duty, it's a legal necessity and tool in the fight for justice. So I think there are gaps, but it's not totally hopeless, but we also have to keep in mind the fact that there are legal ambiguities which, as from the legal profession they will know, we still don't have a clear category for honor crime. So without, it's easy to blame sensationalism, sensational reports or the reporters, but legal clarity will lead to media clarity. So there should be more push for accountability and for more transparency in police investigations as well.
A lot of clarity to our discourse here. I also recall an experience, you could say. I mean, our media coverage sometimes can also be timid, and it's predominantly we find, and I call filmmaking in this as well, can be predominantly heteronormative in our constructions of these spaces. I barely recall any coverage, forget about coverage, not even a ticker in Bengali news channels when the Navteen Singh Johar judgment was passed. I mean, it was a big thing. Whether you agree with it or not, it's a big thing, but it was as if it didn't exist in our space, in our reality at all. Now, I think we are all looking for this very elusive space where life can just happen to us without the fear of log kya kahenge. This is where I come to Shautrajit sir. I was rewatching actually the National Award-winning film Pakita Vyaktigato the other day, and I was fascinated with the idea of this mythical, almost mirage-like space we have in the village of Mohini, where people can just fall in love, let love happen to them without fear of judgment. So, sir, since you were involved in the making of this film, I would really like to know about the thought process and what we may take from it in constructing our elusive spaces in reality.
Thank you, Dr. Das. Good evening, everybody. The film had come to me when it got stuck midway, so I would not be able to kind of take credit for when it was conceptualized. But in fact, Parambrata and me, we used to work out. He's a junior in school, and he had pointed out this particular film getting stuck while we were actually running on the treadmill. And I had expressed interest to see this, and we had just formed Tripod, and we were looking at films which were stuck. And I saw some rushes of the film. It's directed by Pavitro Bhattacharya, and he's pretty elusive in any event because he's hard to find, hard to catch, and he's Much like his film, he lives in a world of his own, which is nice because I think that's where the film came from. So whenever I finally caught hold of him and I saw some rushes, and then we started finishing this particular film. So the very idea, it was very unique, the way he had envisaged the thing, and I think even back then when we did release it, it had a disastrous result at the box office. As a producer, I got, I think, only 38,000 rupees of tickets sold, and it had not won the national award. We do not have connections, and nowadays I hear continuously about lobbying and stuff like that. I recall that from Times of India, a senior journalist called me at about 7:30, and she said that this has won the national award, and it was pretty, again, unreal, and the feeling, so on and so forth. Cut to today's date, if we are sticking to the topic, and if we are kind of wanting to explore the space or the mind space of the film, one of the reasons, at the end of the day, even a film or whatever art we talk about has a commerce angle to it, right? So, I went through the UDGAM dossier, and there are references of films like an Article 15. It's not as if media or filmmakers do not want to make such films, but if you see traditionally, the kind of space we are living in now, Article 15 didn't do well. It bombed at the box office. Anubhav Sinha keeps trying, making these films. I had the fortune of meeting him. I'm a part of the jury for the Kolkata International Film Festival as well, and a couple of years back he was one of the esteemed guests. So it's very difficult for people to keep churning out films if it is not supported by the people. So first of all, the mindset has to change in respect to what kind of things you wanted to see. Whereas if you look at a controversial film like a Kerala Files, it has done phenomenally well. So why is that? This kind of thing. Cut to an OTT, yes, films like an NH10, rather the series of which is on an OTT, they've been doing well, but that's primarily because I think you are being able to watch those kind of content at the comfort of your home. But everything has got to do with the mindset, which needs to be overhauled, if I may say so. And as the discussion goes, I'll come to some real life experiences as well, because the films are all made from basic real life experiences, and I'll tell you what experience I have been going through in terms of another commercial venture of mine, which is a case study sitting here right here in Kolkata, because we are talking about Uttar Pradesh, we are talking about Delhi, but right here in south of Kolkata, the experiences I have been getting on a daily basis has opened up we all knew about it, but I have been going through it, so we'll come to it later. But yes, as far as I am concerned, it's all got to do with the mindset, and I think that will only come with education. Where we are sitting now, you people are responsible for educating students, and they should be educating others going forward, so that data mindset, and we never have to have this kind of a panel discussion about honor culture or honor killing, something like that.
Thank you, sir. I think you made a very important point about what kind of stories and probably whose stories we are telling. So, Divangan sir, let me come to you on this. I believe you have been working with some of the indigenous communities around Ahmedabad in the making of your documentary, Jal Jal Jabeen. So, would you please like to share your experiences with them, and whether you have observed certain peculiar honor cultural constructions amongst them as well?
Yes, thank you for giving me the opportunity. So basically, when we are talking about the honor culture, I also agree with the ma'am on that part. But I haven't seen directly those things. But in my small career that I had, I was lucky to be like in spaces where normal people can't go, and for our work, like the work we do. And this was in Chaibasa in Jharkhand, an incident I would like to say. So it was the Ho tribe, if you know, there's a tribe called Ho tribe. So basically the Jal Jangal Jameen, which it was a Tata Steel Foundation commission project. So we made a web series, documentary web series. And for that we needed to go to these pockets, rural pockets where Tata was working for them. So one of those villages was in Chaibasa in Jharkhand. So that's the kind of the context. So they don't know cameras, nothing. They are like totally cut off from the whole mainstream world. And this was in just post-COVID, yes, 2022 or something. So there, and Tata was working for menstrual health there. So it was a primarily a woman-centric action that they were taking. So we went there to understand what were the issues they were facing. So the voice of the woman we wanted to capture. So what happened was the Pradhan came out, who is a man, and then he's also referring us to the men of the village, like ask them. But we wanted to get to the woman, but again, we couldn't take out those cameras and mics directly because you have to sensitize them first before going to the whole mission. So there we found a woman, and she agreed to do it, but she was a wife of, I think, the Pradhan's son or something. So we kind of set up the camera and we were ready to do the shoot. Suddenly this guy comes in and sits next to me. So I said I want to interview her alone because these are problems which she might not feel comfortable in front of her family or something. But this guy says no, whatever she says, it has to go through me. So then we understood that our interview is already gone. Like whatever we are taking, it's a kind of filtration or a kind of mansplaining that is happening. So we took the interview but couldn't use it because it was very fake and if you are asking something, so she's looking at the husband, what the answer she's giving, we will be gone, but that night she'll be there. So that is the main point. So she couldn't open up. And in that whole process, my takeaway was it's just a patriarchal world we are living in. So even if we are talking about women problems and trying to solve issues like this, we are far away from that, at least in those remote areas. So that was my kind of takeaway from the whole thing. And I think if these small nuances are checked, then we can talk about the larger changes, the fancy words of honor crimes and stuff. So I think that is the mentality problem what Satyajit sir also said. We have to change that first, and that comes with the education awareness. So yeah.
That's a great point to bring up. This micro experiences, if you have to really construct what honor culture might really mean. And connected with it, probably we could even talk about it in terms of culture of shame. It can manifest in so many ways. I was thinking about what Ninjaya ma'am was talking about, the clarity, the conceptual clarity as to what our honor culture might constitute. Now, we might come to this very dramatic coverages of honor killings, but the smaller things, the everyday things, when you said that there was a mansplaining going on, or there was a lack of recognition even about the smaller to bigger problems in everyday life that the women folk might face, especially in these parts. One of the experiences might be the lack of sanitary access, sanitary facility access. So the culture of shame, if you might...
For rural reporting, that culture of shame and, like filmmakers, if you are going to the remote areas to report on the culture of shame or the menstrual issues, so this mansplaining, and I have seen, the most atrocious things. Like I was in Chhattisgarh a few years ago, so just villages a few kilometers from Raipur, and there is this village where all women have undergone hysterectomy. It's called Banjar Kshetra, and even 18-year-olds are asked to go undergo hysterectomy. The unscrupulous medical personnel, that's another story. But even there's an instance, a woman was made to stay with the cows in Bihar, in a Bihar village, which I think, and it's pathetic. she was pregnant. And there too it's said we are protecting honor. So while reporting, I think we also reporters work within certain parameters and within certain constraints. So and scrutiny and again I will bring this topic now. Reporting on such issues like menstrual issues or gender disparities, the space is shrinking. So we have to be, sometimes there is a tendency to, over sensationalize, to just grab the attention of readers. And I admit that, reporting on this culture of shame, on gender discrepancies, I think that kind of sensitivity sometimes is lacking. We also, we have to be sensitive to the sentiment. It's very difficult to portray something in its stark reality. So the language plays spoil sport. So, sometimes it has to be couched in such language so that, ambiguity remains. But I think media, I think there should be more training in journalism to how to report sensitively on gender issues, caste disparities. I think, and there are no hard and fast rules. The editorial policies also dictate a lot of coverage elements, but one has to be extremely sensitive while reporting on such issues, honor crimes particularly. There are legal implications, and this much I can say, leading mainstream publication, they have the filters in place, so it has to be sensitively handled, and it depends on the individual editorial policies, but it depends at the end of the day on the newsroom culture as well.
Thank you, ma'am. So where journalists might feel the constraints, film might excel. So I come back to Shautradip sir and your views on how we might take the possibility of incorporating these stories even
So
more.
as I was saying that why I was talking about mindset and why we take real life experiences as inspirations. I'm sure that they will agree. So I run a health club since the last 6 years. It's again a collaboration between me and Techno India University, which is also an educational institution, which happens to be in an area which is surrounded by predominantly, let's say, members of a certain community. Okay, so it's a 24/7 facility, and I have to staff it accordingly. All right. Now the thing is, I have a receptionist whom I had found very suitable. She's a master's in English literature from a reputed university, and she's been working with me for 2 years. So now I had just suddenly seen her resume lying around, and I had called her. And when she came, she spoke very lucidly, and I liked her approach, and I had called her, and she was experienced in this line of work. She's not only a receptionist, she drives sales as well, and she's a customer interface and things like that. So when she came, I said that why do you want to leave your existing job? So she said that I was in an area, I live at Park Circus, and I used to be working in this particular health club, which is at Gadiahat, and now I've been transferred to Park Circus, and I cannot work there. So I said, why? She said, because if people from my area see me working, it is going to be a problem at my home. So see, the word honor, and this stems from that kind of thing, and she had to leave this particular job purely because of the reason she just quoted, and came and joined me. And she was doing pretty phenomenally well, I would say. And all of a sudden, last 4-5 days back, she said, "Sir, I have to resign." I said, "Why?" She said, "Oh, there's a marriage in my family, And my father has said that people will come and see this. So I said, you are getting married? Well, she's, I think, 28 or something, 26, 27, between that. She said, no, I am not getting married, but we live in a joint family. There's somebody who's going to get married. And my father said that if they come and see the girl and find you working, or hear about the fact that you're working somewhere, this relationship will not work. So they are just going to turn. So she has resigned, and she's only here till the time I find somebody suitable, because this happened all of a sudden. And I said that, so what are you going to do? She said, I'm going to sit at home. And that's about it. So I said, with all the education you have, all the experience you have gained, and you're very good at whatever you do, and you're sincere, you're honest, you're eligible, as well as being very efficient, you're going to waste your time, or what? She said, yeah, but I cannot, speak out or speak up against this decision. It has been taken, so it's been taken. So now, where do you this is happening right here, right in our city. It's not even, like marginalized society. It's completely something, and she uses apps. She orders via Zomato. She comes, on a Rapido. She is modern, absolutely. She wears jeans. But when they come with all of their traditional attire, and then change into this. When they go, it's the same with a lot of members also coming in. Of course, we have modern corporate people as well, but this is what I have observed, and I have been observing this for the past 6 years. So this is where the kind of, the mindset, the thing I was talking about, comes to play, and I don't know how to change it apart from only, and see, she's this, and she had scored, I think, about 82% in her masters. It's absolutely evident that she is educated, but this is what it is. So now, what will you say to this, and how will you deal with it? Apart from educating them to stand and have their own voice, assert, which is difficult, I know, because otherwise, obviously, nobody will want to do something which is against your own wish and will, and of course, you will not want to waste your own, like time and ability and all of that. So I think that's where education and mindset and educating people become very, very important.
Thank you, sir. Sir, I think one of the great problems that we face in everyday life is that we are ourselves the product. We may negotiate our spaces, like you were saying that we are coming in traditional attire, and then we are like sort of living a dual life. I recall a horrendous experience with one of my friends who is unfortunately no more, and precisely because of these influences and the difficulties in making sense of their own experiences, really. We talk about this honor culture-based suicides a lot as well. I can't find more horrible and more difficult struggle that a person can go through than struggling with themselves. The language, the concepts, we are borrowing everything probably from the primary source of our socialization, that is our family or our extended kinship group with whom we spend most of our time of building this consciousness. The other parts of our experiences are probably escapes. But in terms of that, if I just take the liberty of querying the conversation a little, my mind goes back to some of the coverages, newsreel coverages, which were put into a documentary in Ebong Bewarish, made by Devolina Mujumdar. Right, and going through the spaces where the stories played out, we're not talking about urban cosmopolitan spaces, which is difficult in its own way, but there probably these words, gay, lesbian, LGBT, this doesn't exist at all. Ma'am, you are working with some of these people, I believe, and what would be your insight into this? How do we really deal with it? What can we do and what can they do?
Yeah,
Yeah, I am absolutely a field person because for my organization I keep on visiting rural areas and tribal areas. So there are many layers actually in society. So since we are talking about honor crime, I think we should understand that why society acts like this. India is a very ancient country, you know. I'd like to mention a statement of Manu Sanhita. Though Manu Sanhita is not very popular as a woman-centric or woman-friendly book, but even in that, Manu has told that if any male of a family dishonors or causes pain to any woman of the family, that family is awaiting destruction soon. And any woman, he further clarified, any woman means the small girl child in the house, the Anura Nari, that means the unmarried woman in the house, and the married woman. So we can think that in ancient India, women were more powerful, they had more freedom, they had the freedom to choose their partners. So this kind of problem, honor killing, was not prevalent in ancient India. How it came, like when occupation-based caste system came. We divided human into layers. And thus we got the concept of endogamy, exogamy, polygamy, hypergamy, hypogamy, and all these things. If we discuss the whole thing in context of women, hypergamy is the only thing where it is win-win situation. That means a lower caste girl is getting married to a higher caste boy. So it is a promotion. Her family is also getting a social upliftment. There is no problem. But if it is hypogamy, if a higher caste girl is getting married to a lower caste boy, then option of honor crime arises. Similarly, I am going to the tribal areas. I work with the tribals mainly. Tribals are very modern in thinking, but they are extremely endogamous. That means they prefer to marry within groups. It's their community rule. So in present day, if a Santal boy falls in love with a Munda girl, both the party will be furious and it can create scope of honor killing. But beyond this gamming, there are other things like class conflict. You were talking about Rijwanur case. Definitely it was inter-religion. Religion, other religion. And, Islam came to India 1,000 years back, 1,200 years back. And British came to India 500, 600 years back. So before that, intra-religion marriage was not there in India. So it is okay. But the problem is, when we are talking about class, that means rich and poor. For Rijwanur, I believe it was not only Hindu-Muslim issue. If Rijwanur was a very rich businessman living in a palatial mansion, maybe there was opposition from Priyanka's family, but the boy would have lived. Morto na hayto cheta. So there are multifaceted layers in the society that we need to understand. But I think intervention of law and judiciary can bring lots of change. I'd like to give one example. In my early days, I was visiting Jamshedpur to visit another NGO. I still remember the name of the NGO, FLAC, Free Legal Aid Committee. Their job was to provide free legal assistance to the poor victims who cannot hire lawyers for them. So they run a creche where the working women put their children and they go for work, they earn for the whole day and they come back and the NGO takes care of the child. So I saw a very beautiful tribal young lady. She put her small child into the creche and she went for work. So I asked that in such a tender age, and she got married. So they said, no, she was not married. She was gang raped by the village Thakur. Thakur, basically son of Thakur and his friends. So after the incident happened, the girl went with the family to the local police station. Police did nothing. And police said that she was into prostitution. Basically, police put her into jail. And the offenders were moving freely outside in the society. This is not a cinema, this is real life. And the most pathetic part is after 2-3 months, when the girl was in prison, she realized she is pregnant. So it was a rape child. The family pleaded for abortion, but there are policy matters, maybe abortion was not allowed. Though the girl had to be a mother of a rape child. And now when she got released from jail, she was getting regular threatening that if you again go to police, this time we will kill you. So I think here comes the role of law enforcement department. So if law enforcement, because in India we don't have dearth of laws. There are so many laws to protect women. There are so many policies. But the thing is, law enforcement department need to, ensure that law will be implemented. Law will be exercised. And today, I think there are so many budding lawyers and future judges. So we, the panelists, we can expect that when they will start their professional life, if you get this kind of honor-killing case, please do ensure that the victim gets justice. Nothing can be more honorful to give justice to the victim, I believe so.
Thank you. Life, and this was not cinema, but this takes me back to Santosh once again. Which brings me to Devanjan sir for our last question. As a filmmaker, I mean, when I'm talking about Santosh, he didn't even get certification for theatrical release. We also look at films like Masan, Thara 2 even more recently, and there were several edits to be made before it got certification. So what's your take, sir, when we try to make hard-hitting films like this? The institutional resistances that we feel, we experience. Now I was talking about law, but law is not always an ally. So your take on this?
So coming to that, I would quote Chotrajit sir again. He said, art, filmmaking is of course an art, but it's a very expensive art. So for that, a lot of commerce is involved. So if you show these real things in real hard-hitting way, it will not bring back the money that you're putting in for making the film. That is like the basic thing, I think that is the basic thing. So again, other filmmakers try to put in something, ornament it with the mainstream kind of masalas and stuff. But I think the viewers should also level up with the filmmakers in that sense, so that they also encourage these type of films, so that they do well in halls or in OTTs, so that you put away those trash and watch these. So I think, from my own experience, I used to work in the mainstream industry, but then after NIT, I kind of shifted to kind of impact storytelling, working with NGOs, UNICEF, because I couldn't express my own thing in that stuck place. Like be it here, be it Bombay, it's all the same. Like in the mainstream industry, it's going after those glam and everything. And that, so I think somewhere in between we have to come. So Masan kind of did that, but when Masan released, it didn't do well in the box office. But still now we talk about Masan, the sensible people did talk about Masan that time. So I think more Masan should come and other producers, people, the audience should support those kind of films. I think that can bridge the thing.
Thank you so much, sir. And you speak of Masan, and I'm thinking of Homebound. And I recall that I had to plead PVR for extending some of the shows a couple of weeks back. The shows were almost done. And one of the most disappointing experiences in recent times in a movie theater was to listen to that 2-minute disclaimer before Homebound began that it is all for entertainment. I mean, if that is entertainment, I'm really done with cinema.
So, just extending it by a bit, I had my last film which I had directed was called Check In, Check Out, and while censoring this, while applying for censor, the rule is that as a director you have to be present and the producers have to be present. So, in the film there was a sequence wherein the protagonist, so Isha played the protagonist of this particular film, so she's just discussing something and there was a term about vaccines. So there's one character in the particular film who was against vaccines, and that person is dead in the film. So the person, the chairman of the censor board, he said that, so do you kind of mean to say that you are against vaccines? I said, where did I, state this? He said, no, but your character said that he was against vaccines. I said that that's a character. I had to recut it and put in a disclaimer that this is again for, as he was saying, as you were saying, that this is for entertainment purpose and this does not determine, or rather, this has got no bearings with the entire vaccine policy of the Indian government before I got the censor certificate, because they're saying that, oh no, you're hitting right, at the vaccine policy. So I said, no, it's purely fictitious. So, cutting back to where we were.
Thank you so much, our esteemed panelists, and I think it's time enough to include our audience for our question answer session. So, if you have questions, please pass the mic to.
I can speak from.
Oh, sure.
So, when we are talking about Homebound and the Abandoned film also, it gets me back to Devi as well. I think Satyajit Ray also said the same thing, that our audience, whenever I'm making a film, our audience could not take it that way, because somehow they thought that I'm hitting the religion by portraying Devi. So I would like all of them to give a glimpse of that and maybe talk in that line of it. What is your take on it?
It's a threat, sir, who's told that only, it's a threat to that only.
So there's this one particular statement which, as I'm going kind of what we are growing old, becomes more relevant, that we get what we deserve. So if you keep on catering to see India as, if you take the country as a whole, we do follow a herd mentality kind of thing. So when the OTTs had come, what were they supposed to do? They were supposed to be completely for different voice and X and Y and Z, and I am from the age-old television time. Back in when I joined Star TV, I was 21. We were back during 2001, which was the golden time of KBC and QK. So if you see the OTT, they have they've brought back the QK version 2 and all of that. So we are going back. So are we progressing or are we regressing? Is something which you need to ask, and everybody is following the same template and same thing, and that is purely because I think audience, like a participation is important. You were very glad when you had watched Pakita Bektigato. Sir was very glad. I'm sure those who have watched, they have had a very eye-opening kind of a feeling. But why did not the audience go and watch it on the film? Why does Homebound have to be taken off the streams? And it's not doing well. We all know why. After winning so many awards, I see so many films which come into KIFF. Even Tanushri's film, for which she's won in Venice, has come for this year's KIFF, and I did watch it. It's a stunning film. But will it do well at the theaters if it is released? Doubtful. Who will go and how many people will go? So if there is no encouragement from the audience, then why will somebody, at the end of the day, why will somebody put in money for this? So Satyajit Ray, obviously he was far ahead of his time, and we are all following. So there are two Bengali gentlemen who have set the bar so high that none of them have been able to ever reach even close. Satyajit Ray and Rabindranath Thakur. So we are still getting influenced and references and all of them, and those are the kind of films which still do well. So tomorrow, I have cut many albums, I have produced a lot of albums, given wings to a lot of newcomers as well. That's what I tend to do. You cut a Ravindra Sangeet album, you will find takers and listeners still, because people will want to hear those songs. So either we have not been, of course we have not been able to reach where they were and what they have created, but then embracing new and giving that opportunity to newer talent is dying. It's not encouraged by the audience, and that is why again it's an institutionalized business. So the studios only will encourage things which do well. They will not go. So they will say that nowadays the template for a Netflix is it has to open with a gory scene and bloods and all of that. That's the template. When you prepare we call it a Bible, and if you prepare the Bible, that's what it's supposed to be like. So why is it? Why do thrillers and dark kind of content work very well on OTTs and light-hearted or things which are intelligent do not? Because there are no takers. So it's the audience end of the day who have to be answerable. Yeah.
Absolutely, sir. Can I add? Yes, of course. I would extend that to the readers. So, who's reading? Like, if we put out, say, any website, independent website, put out, or any mainstream newspaper or website, print, I have no hope. I don't know how many people still read print. But extending that to readers, if we put out a hard-hitting, say, in-depth analysis of honor crimes, and it's an extremely well-written article, and the same website carries a very in-depth analysis of why the kid misbehaved with the big deal, what will you do? I mean, it's very easy to blame sensationalism in media and everything, but now thanks to online platforms you have analytics, and it's very, very, very discouraging for serious journalists.
It's very deductive, and I recall from this conversation a very recent interview of Javed Akhtar, and was very livid with the audiences. That, I mean, we keep on complaining about the dearth of good material, realistic material, and this is what we deserve.
So have you watched? One Battle After Another?
Of course, of course.
Okay, so that's made over 100 million lost. It's set to become the biggest kind of flop or a loser in recent times, and it's one of the best films to have come out of the last 10 years, let's say. Yeah? So why is it? Again, it's such a stunning film, and yet there are few takers. Why?
It's a very attention-engaging film. I could say the same thing about Homebound.
Absolutely, that is what. So it never felt that it was 2 hours 45 minutes long, and it's like just every frame commanded your attention in this scenario of attention deficit syndrome, because nobody is kind of able to give much of attention to anything because of the reels phenomenon.
Behavior has changed.
Absolutely. I recall a book which was written, I think it was foretelling of the times to come, The Shallows, written by Nicholas Carr. And he was talking about the advent of the internet, which was changing our patterns of thinking and taking in information, as Ma'am was talking about analytics, ready-made analytics, and it's very reductive. Okay, do we have more questions? Anyone? Yes, sir, please.
Thank you to all the panelists for this wonderful discussion. Actually, my question is not directed to anybody specific. If possible, if everybody could respond. When we talk about honor killing, honor is essentially associated with pride. Pride that emerges in Indian society largely from caste and community pride due to the continuing hegemony of the caste system. So in your respective fields, or how is the question? So because invisibilization of caste enables the continuation of the politics of honor killing, or it doesn't let us address the root cause through which honor killing is actually taking place. So in your respective fields, how is the question of pride, which is largely associated with caste and community pride, being addressed? Because ultimately that is the root cause. So unless and until we address the root cause, we cannot necessarily change things. So yeah, that's my question.
is a very good question. Pride, yeah, it's a prime thing, and pride is a product of patriarchy. You know, so when if a boy of a family take pride, they don't feel that their pride is gone. Okay, which is again a crime. But if the girl of that family loves someone who is not from their community, the family thinks our pride is gone. So is it at all a feeling of pride? It's a negative mindset. It's a craziness that has been, raised in their brain for ages. It's not a single day product. It happened, we always misinterpret the social norms. Social norms were created to bind the society. But we need to understand what was relevant 100 years back is not relevant today. And today what is present we are discussing, 50 years back it will not be relevant. So 100 years back, 200 years back, we also know that people used to take pride to be sati. But today there is no sati. So nation has stopped it by applying law. There were jahar bratu to keep the pride, to keep the chastity of the woman intact. So if we have changed this with time, we can change the practice of honor crime also. And people need to understand what I feel, that there is no pride, no honor in committing crime. Any honor crime is violation of human rights. So let's make it very simple. Crime is crime, there is no honor crime. It's crime.
So is it pride or arrogance? Like I feel it's more of arrogance rather than pride in that sense.
Pride that generally becomes arrogance after a point of time.
So that is where it is coming from, right? What I think.
I think we academics sometimes love our complicated jargons, and we try to draw the difference between honor cultures and respect cultures, right? Which is a budding topic in feminist studies as well. If we have any further questions, we may have time for one more question. Anyone? Among the students, the participants? All right. I think we may close down our session. Wonderful experience talking to you, ma'am. A lot of things to take home. Thank you for your patience very as well.